We'll do this on Sunday. I simply am me. I am who I am. Very first photo, this is July 1961. This is my mother and her best friend Gertrude, our Aunt Gertie, picking us up at the airport. This is O'Hare Airport in Chicago. They drove down from Milwaukee. We were flown from Seoul to Tokyo to Anchorage to Seattle to Chicago. So that's one of my dorky teenage pictures. Having a sense of where you come from is something that a lot of Korean adoptees feel deprived of. So finding ancestors is really significant for me, emotionally and psychologically. My birth father may have died before I was born, and my birth mother may have died in childbirth. It's probably close to impossible for me to find any information about them, much less Korean ancestors. And so my Norwegian and German forebears really are my ancestors. Naming oneself is a very powerful act of construction or reconstruction. I played around with names. At one point, I used the name Hillary, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Of course, this was 1982, so it was long before you know who came to prominence nationally. What I didn't realize at the time is that Hillary is actually both a man's name and a woman's name. I can read for you, in Norwegian, a little bit from the Bygdebok, which is the history of the township, the parish, where my father's grandfather was born. Fortelle Hageland må ha blitt skilt ut fra en eldre gard. Spørsmålet blir bare hva for ein. That's a little bit of Norwegian. I can read more later. So I wrote on Facebook, Kari Jonsdotter Røver, my great-great-great-grandmother, was born in Røver and died in Skåra Parish near Haugesund in Rogaland County. Is anyone else here related to her? On RootsWeb, I found a family tree for her that purports to trace one line back scores of generations back to someone named Woden Odin, who was born before 8240. How credible is such a genealogy? So one person, Tore Lund Kalsvik, who I think is in Norway, wrote, "Well, I have seen some of that kind, more fantasy than accuracy, I'm afraid. One wonders what sources they have used." I would say without exaggeration it was one of the happiest periods of my life. Not that there weren't some challenges and struggles, there were, but London is really an amazing city. My second year in London, I lived with my lover Bernard, who worked at the BBC, and that was in East Acton. That's it. That's the house. Let me see if I can zoom in.
I work for the BBC, so I'm interested where people come from. So, where are you from in America?
New York.
New York?
Yes.
Originally from China, of course.
I'm not Chinese.
No.
No.
Oh. So, where... I know, but from what's your background? Because if you're... In terms of your... Because obviously, I mean, you've an Oriental background. That's why, so what, Korean or...?
Yes, Korea.
Korea,
Yeah.
Hence not being upset about China, right? I understand.
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
Suffolk pink is the colour.
Okay.
It's Suffolk. It's after a county in the UK called Suffolk, so it's called Suffolk pink. But you're very welcome. Have a wonderful stay in England.
Thank you.
And wish you a very happy Christmas and New Year.
Okay.
Take care.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, there's a song about that I could play for you or sing for you. What is love 'tis not hereafter, Present mirth hath present laughter, what's to come is still unsure. In delay there lies no plenty, then come kiss me, sweet and 20. Youth's a stuff will not endure. As I say, it was living in England for 2 years that made me realize how American I was.
Transgendered people.
Transgendered people.
Especially trans people of color.
Especially trans people of color.
Are disproportionately incarcerated.
Are disproportionately incarcerated.
In our prison industrial complex.
In our prison industrial complex.
Be very skeptical.
Be very skeptical
of any politician.
Of any politician
who says they're a friend of this movement.
Who says they're a friend of this movement.
Judge them.
Judge them.
Not by their words.
Not by their words.
But by their actions.
But by their actions.
This is actually my debut as a public figure, and I can date it exactly to February 29th, 2000. This was the press conference launching the campaign for the New York City Transgender Rights Bill. Here's a photo of me with the mayor. Once again, Councilmember Bill Perkins. That's Councilmember Christine Quinn. Chris Quinn is now the Speaker of the City Council. Afterwards, I had a few friends who kidded me and called him my boyfriend, which is, I guess, a very New York thing, right? You have all these neighbors. You don't necessarily see all of them. You don't necessarily know all of them. You're living on top of someone or below someone. Isn't that nice? So I have a downstairs neighbor whom I've never met. I didn't even know his name until he slipped this card under my door. So he wrote a few days ago, "You play the piano so wonderfully, and I could literally listen all day long. There are times when you're playing that I literally turn off the TV or stereo and just lay on the couch and listen. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that since I moved in, my favorite thing about the place is a beautiful built-in soundtrack." I was trying to develop my countertenor voice, which is male falsetto. And then I realized, I took a few voice lessons, but then I realized that what my teacher, I only took like 5 lessons or something like that. But what I realized was that the teacher, the technique that I developed was actually really good for my baritone voice.
Oh, okay.
But there's this really, I don't know, singing is a very gendered thing. I mean, I do know there's a transgendered singer named Georgie Jessup, and she sings sort of like rock stuff, and she sings in her natural baritone voice, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But there's this weird thing, if you identify as a woman, you're transgendered, and then you sing in this low baritone voice, then people think it's either a joke, or then they don't take you seriously, because the template that the world imposes on you is a binary opposition, which is a social construction that doesn't work for one. And that's the position I found myself throughout my life, because there's never been an easy answer. It's kind of a song about, well, you might say it's about loneliness, but it's really about being able to live in the world without any support network, as we would say in contemporary terms.
No, here.
Oh, somewhere else.
Somewhere.
Oh, okay. I thought you knew I was transgender. Yeah, I was born male, but I was a transgender. Cashier, she was not, you know, they'd had some issues with me being transgendered. They're fine with it now, but when they figured out that I was transgendered, it was an issue for a little bit. Hold on. In January 1997, when I moved to Queens, that's when I came out. I had my, what might be called a social transition, a non-medical transition, without hormones or surgery, and simply decided to live as an openly transgendered woman.